So you think you want to be a truck driver? Well, actually, it can be a pretty good career, but you really gotta get your experience in, and it's gonna take time. Nothing happens fast in this industry. Um, I currently I'm working for Stevens Transport, and I'm locked into a 1 year contract with them, and I think it was a pretty good start. They have a really good training academy. They're really high up on safety. Now, I will say that it is kind of run like the military, in the sense that they have time schedules that they got to meet, and they want you to do things at certain times, and they want to control every aspect of things, and they try and get everything just uniform. I guess they really model themselves after the military. So that's the first thing that you got to know about Stevens Transport. I'm making this video because a lot of guys are out there looking for companies and they don't know which company to go to. Um, Now, I can't say anything good or bad about a lot of these other big companies. They all have pros and cons about them. If you don't have any experience in the trucking industry, you're not going to get paid well for the first year. That's just how it is. I mean, you got to get trained, and you got to get your 1 year experience in somewhere somehow. So, so yeah, when you're at the truck stops, you're gonna take a lot of flack. Oh, you're the newbie. Oh, you don't know anything, and blah blah blah. But in reality, everybody went through it, and I'm still going through it even after being a truck driver for almost a year. There's a lot to learn in this industry, and you're not gonna know everything, and you're not expected to when you first start out. That's why you get paid so low, starting out. And when I say low, at Stevens Transport, when you're going through the training phase with the trainer, it's about $50 a day, and then it's like 26 cents a mile after that, which is about average on par for the industry. I have heard some people paying like 20 cents a mile or something like that to their trainees. It's not right. It's not fair. Basically you're moving freight for free. Um, but I will say that you get pay increases. You get guaranteed pay increases, which do help out. So basically, you got to get through all your training phases before anybody's going to pay you as a truck driver. And I guess just to tell you a little bit about my story, I was out of work, and I was looking for a job, so I contacted Stevens Transport, and the recruiters made it sound so good, like you're gonna make so much money, like, oh, you're gonna make $40,000 in your first year. That doesn't happen. I mean, maybe some truck drivers can do it if you go on the lease or the owner operator side, but I really wouldn't recommend doing that, because a lot of guys that do that, they've been in trucking for years, and they've been out of it, and then they come back, and they already know how to drive a truck. In the first year, they want to lease, and those are the guys that get into that $40,000 range. And I mean, it varies in the trucking industry. I really can't say there's a set salary. Nobody can. That's why it's so hard to decipher how much we make. I mean, we get paid by the mile, we get paid by weight. The lease guys get paid separate from the owner operators, separate from the company guys. So if you're doing this to make money, you really got to prepare yourself to not make a whole lot of money your first year. It's just going to be hard. You're going to be struggling to support yourself out on the road, even though as a company driver you might not have any expenses, but I mean you still gotta eat all the time. And some of these truck stops and stuff, they're expensive. It's a convenience fee. They have everything that you need there, and a lot of videos that I've seen online do say to get a cooler, and I definitely would get one of those electric coolers that you can plug in, for all that. But before we even get to that point, if you've not even applied to a truck driving place yet, I would say you really need to do your homework. and figure out which one's the best one for you. A lot of times they're going to say, hey, we can get you home, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it could take up to 3 weeks to get you home. It could take up to 3 months. They don't know. I don't know. So you just got to be prepared to be away from your home for that long. You got to tell your family and loved ones that you could be gone that long. And then another thing is you don't have value until you have experience, until you've got your CDL, until you've proven to them that you can do this job. And before you prove that you can do this job, you're just not going to get paid that well. I guess some of my story is after I called the recruiter, she gave me a list of things to bring into the orientation. I went to that, and then they put us in to a little motel. It wasn't a hotel; it was a motel with another guy. And I mean, you got to learn to live with people. Right now, I've been doing this a year. I've got this whole hotel to myself, and I'll talk to you about that a little bit later. But basically, you got to learn to live with people, and they're going through the same struggles that you're going through. I mean, a lot of guys just they didn't have jobs in this bad economy, and they're lucky to even get a truck driving job. And so, anyways, when after you go through orientation, you got a bunch of classroom stuff to go through. You got to see the doctor, you got to do a drug test and stuff like that, and you got to get through all that. And then you got to get your written test, and to get your CDL, you got to get your license. And basically, all the academy teaches you how to do is to get your license. They don't teach you how to be truck drivers, but it's something you got to do. It's long hours. It's about 14-hour days for about 3 weeks. You got to get up early in the morning, and a lot of times you don't sleep real well because, I mean, you're in another hotel with guys that want to stay up and party all night and whatnot, and they want to drink beers, and they want to do drugs and all this other stuff while they're training for a job to be a truck driver. They still don't have their life figured out, and you can't let that come on to you. You can't fall into their trap like that. I mean, a lot of these guys wash out of the truck driving academies because they have addictions and alcohol problems and stuff like that, and it's sad, but it's hard to deal with an addiction. But they have no business being in the trucking industry. So the whole first 3 weeks, you got to deal with that. You got to deal with a lot of guys that aren't disciplined and can't hack it. So that adds to a lot of the stress. And on top of that, you're learning something new. And when you're learning something new, you struggle with it, and it's hard, and you get down on yourself, and and it's not a pleasant environment. The instructors there, they're just trying to get you through the process. You got to remember, they see new students all the time, so you can't expect them to know your name or to coddle you. I mean, you being that you're grown up now. I mean, you're a grown man. You can't expect everything to come easy to you, especially when you're trying to learn how to be a truck driver. So, anyways, after you get through your training academy and stuff like that, they'll put you over the road with the trainer. So then you got to live in a truck with another guy for another couple of months until you're finished with your hours. I think it's like 290 hours behind the wheel, which you're really gonna want, because being that you don't have a lot of experience, you're gonna want somebody more experienced to be able to show you how to drive a truck. And it's not always going to be easy. I mean, I've heard stories of people getting into fights, people kicking their trainer out, trainee out. But in the most for the most part, they're just the trainers are just trying to make a living, and they're stuck in the same boat you are. And anyways, when I was being trained, my trainer wanted to go home on home time, so I got left at a truck stop for a few days. But I mean, it wasn't ideal. I didn't like it, and I got another trainer. He got reprimanded for it. But what I'm saying is, stuff happens, and you got to learn to deal with it. You can't get down on yourself and quit, especially if you sign a 1 year contract. You really got to finish out that contract, no matter what happens to you. And for the first 6 months, you're new and you're treated like somebody that's new in the industry. But after 6 months and after a year, after 2 years, after 10 years, after 20 years, you have the experience, you have the seniority, and people start lightening up on you. When you're in training, you're gonna have to go over the road, and you're gonna have to go to all four corners of the country, which is good and bad. It's good that you get to travel. It's good that you get to see a lot of mountains and a lot of stuff. But you are on a tight time schedule. You don't get a whole lot of sleep because the truck is almost always moving. It does get shut down for 8 hours a night for you to sleep when it's not moving. But other than that, yeah, you're going to be going to New York City a lot. Isn't that great? Those little tight little avenues and corridors and people running around everywhere. You got taxi cabs pulling out in front of you, buses everywhere. You're trying to fit an 18-wheeler down a road that is really too tight to fit an 18-wheeler down, but you're going to get through it. And if you can get through that, and if you can get through your training period, then it does get easier after you get your own truck. And I will say, once you finish training, they are going to try and pressure you a little bit to go on this leasing thing, and to them it doesn't matter. And basically, it really is up to you if you want to be a lease or an owner operator or a company driver. But they have a system called like Pre-Alliance, so you can kind of test it out before you go. And then they do have like a walk-away lease. So it's not that bad, but really, if you're in this business and you don't know anything about it and it's your first year, I would definitely say go company side your first year, because there's a lot of things that do happen, like breakdowns. And a breakdown is why I'm in this hotel room. So they put me in this hotel room because my truck's in the Freightliner shop getting the clutch fixed and the wiring harness, because there's a bunch of check engine lights and it's a big mess. But anyways, what I'm saying is that had happened, and had I been an owner operator or a lease operator, you still got to make your truck payment, and you can get behind on it real easy. And then you got to pay for all the repairs. Sure, I mean, you got a maintenance account, but you got to build it up. And I mean, it's just it's a lot of extra stress. I mean, it's also a gamble too. I mean, sure, you get paid more per mile, but you got to pay for fuel, and you got to pay for maintenance, and then you still got to make your truck payment every week. And so if you're not making any money, and I will say, like if you don't make money for a week, you don't got to come out of pocket to make your truck payment. The company is going to make your truck payment for you, but they're going to take it out of your next paycheck and your next paycheck and your next paycheck after that, until you get caught up. And that's it's a lot. It puts a lot of stress on you for something that's out of your control. And in truck driving, a lot of things are going to be out of your control. If you break down, the shipper and receivers that hold you up, and you're stuck there for a day or two because you're 5 minutes late, not being able to find a load, which does happen like about once a month, and you got to wait there for like 2 or 3 days while they're waiting to find you a load. But that, I mean, it's just little things like that can kind of get you put behind. That's why I'm saying, if you're new into the trucking business, try to finish out your 1 year contract and try to finish the best you can as company side, because you don't have any expenses. And then once you get out of that training phase, once you can grasp being away from home, being able to take care of situations as they arise, then you're going to be better off. And a lot of these companies, they're not going to pay you real well in the first year, because you're not trained. these 20 cents a mile and stuff like that, that's all you're gonna get. But after you've established a safe driving record and being able to get loads there on time safely, then you're gonna get pay increases and you're gonna get started treating a little bit better. But it is rough that first year that you're over the road. For me, it's been a heck of a journey.